Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be canning up some turkey broth in my electric canner. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my jars ready. So I'm filling up the sink with some warm water and some liquid detergent, dishwashing liquid, and some white distilled vinegar. So I'm going to add my jars into the warm water. I'm also going to check at this time for any cracks or any chips. I'm also going to add my tetla lids and my rings because I want everything to be clean. I mean, they're already clean, but I want everything to be nice and fresh because they've been sitting waiting for me to reuse them. So I want to make sure everything's clean and no dirt or anything is on it. If you've ever smelled a brand new jar out of the package, just take the top off and smell it. I've seen people use like lids and stuff right out of the package. You don't want to do that. So once I get everything clean, I'm going to put them into a big pot with some water and I'm going to boil them. Now my broth I'm getting ready because I did it yesterday and I chilled it overnight. I want to get that grease layer. It's not a lot, but I do want to get it off because you don't need that extra grease. So that's why I chill it overnight. So my jars are coming to a boil, a rapid boil, and I'm going to do that for 20 minutes. They say you don't have to do that for pressure canning, but I do it anyway. So we're going to keep them on the fire for a rapid boil for 20 minutes, and then we're going to get ready to can. So while that's doing that, I'm going to I'm going to get my canner ready, and I'm just going to make sure the valve has nothing in it, no food or anything stuck in it from my previous one. I'm gonna make sure my seal is okay and everything's in place, and just make sure my canner is ready to go. Put the lid back on, and then I'm going to add the water to it. And mine calls for 4 cups, and so I'm just adding cold water from the tap here. And I am going to put it on keep warm because I want my water in my canner to be warm because my jars are going to be warm and my liquid is going to be warm. So I want everything to be warm. I don't want to put my jars into a cold canner. So I'm getting my water ready for my lids. And I am using tetla lids and rings for this. I'm going to see how it goes. This is the second time I've used them. And you do not want to do this. I actually set up the shot. It's hard videotaping and doing stuff, but I set up the shot, forgot I didn't press record on my phone, went back to do it and make sure everything was in frame still, and my pot was still on. And when I put it in, as you can see, it steamed up. So you don't really want to do that. So I have my lids in the back in the water. My broth is ready to go. And my jars are about ready to go. So as soon as they're ready to go, I'm going to start canning them up, getting my broth in the warm cans, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm making sure everything's stirred up because I have quite a bit of seasonings in mine. I like to season my broth. Some people don't, I guess. I'm not sure. But I put seasonings as well as when I do the actual broth. I do put scraps of my vegetables in there. So I have my hot jars. As you can see, they're still steaming right out of the hot pot. So I'm going to use my funnel just so everything doesn't go all over the place. And we're going to fill it to 1-inch headspace. Now everything, like I said, is warm. My jars are warm, my broth is warm, and my canner is warming up. So I'm just going to fill my jar to 1 inch of headspace. Now you have 2 ways of checking this. The easiest way is just that bottom ring on the jar is an inch headspace. You also have that I have a little handy dandy tool which I use for debubbling and measuring, and it has the different measurements on the actual front of it. So that's the tool there, and you can make sure that you're at the correct headspace. So once you've done that, you pretty much know that ring at the bottom is your 1-inch headspace. So I take some white vinegar in a napkin, and then I just wipe my ring. I want to make sure it's pristine, it's clean of any kind of debris, food, broth in this case, anything that could stop that seal from sealing correctly, that jar from sealing correctly. So now I'm going to put on my tetla ring. I found that if I put my rings and my lids together as one unit and then try to put them on, they're easier that way. So here I'm trying not to get any oil from my fingers onto that rubber gasket, because that could also stop it from sealing. I want to just do fingertip tight, and then it's going to go over to my canner. So let's just finish the rest of these. Okay, so now that I have all my jars in my canner, and as you can see, it holds 4 of the pints, I'm going to put my top on, make sure it's locked in the lock position. I'm going to make sure my valve is in the correct position, and then I'm going to set my timer. Now for pints broth, you need 20 minutes for my altitude above sea level. So it's gonna do its thing. It's basically like a sort of like a set it and forget it. You basically set it to where you want it for whatever timer it is, and then you just forget about it. So now I had a bit, like a half a cup of broth left that I put in a mug, and I'm going to drink that. It is delicious. Mine is very yellow because of the turmeric I put in it. It's venting, as you can hear. So once it's venting and it does its thing, it's gone through its motions, the timer comes up and it starts its countdown from the 20 minutes.
you make a fish? It smells like fish?
Once the 20 minutes are up, it signals that it's finished, and I leave it on keep warm because that's part of the process of bringing it down off of pressure. So I don't bother it at this point. I wait at least probably about 20 minutes to a half an hour for it to come completely down off of pressure so I can get the top off. Once it comes completely down off of pressure and can get that top off, I take my jars out and then I'm going to tighten down the rings. You want to tighten them down as tight as you can get them. That's the difference between the tetla lids and the regular silver or gold lids, the metal lids. So you want to take them out of the canner and immediately, I mean, some people wait, but I don't. Like I said, this is the second time I've tried tetla lids. And I do it immediately after they come out of the canner. So my kitchen is very cool, very cold actually, and the door leading outside, which is what we use 9 times out of 10, is right to the right of where I've got these cans, these jars. So I cover them over just to keep them warm so they're not in a draft. Okay, so it's been actually 48 hours. I usually wait 24 hours, but life happens and it is what it is. I hate that saying, but there it is. So I'm going to take all the rings off my jars, make sure that they sealed correctly, and I do what I call the fingertip test, and I just hold it up by my fingertips, and if it's sealed, if the seal doesn't come loose, if it's firm, then they're good to go. If not, I usually put it in, depending on what it is, I might reprocess it. Like if this was the broth and I had other broth to go in my canner, I would reprocess it. But otherwise than that, I just put it in my fridge and use it up as soon as I can. So then I take all the rings off, then I put it in a warm water bath, so to speak, just to get any food or debris or whatever might be on the outside of the jars off, and make sure that I'm putting away very clean jars. So I put a little bit of dishwashing liquid and a little bit of white vinegar, distilled white vinegar, in the water, and I'm washing off. As you can see on the tops, there's a little bit of broth that might have siphoned out or something like that. I can already tell by the level of the jars that I did have some siphoning. And again, I'm having that same problem where I thought I was putting them on too tight, but maybe I'm not. So I'm pretty sure I didn't do that to these ones, but obviously something went wrong, and the level you can see is dropped from where I put it in originally. So I'm gonna wash them all off, rinse them with some warm water, then I'm gonna dry them. And then I'm just going to put a label on them of what they are and when I can them. So everybody that goes down into the cold room, and they're going to go down in my cold room, can know what it is, because this is very similar to other products that might be in there. So that's it for my canning broth in my electric canner. So I just want to thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell to be notified when we upload videos. Happy holidays and have a great day.